Greetings, I am the Wizard of What, and it's a beautiful day for some fun, and when I think fun, I think Dwarf Fortress. If anyone would like to name a dwarf in the fortress or have a dwarf named after them, just post in the comments and I will put it in as soon as there is a dwarf available. So we just finished up the fort of cut arrows, or it would be more accurate to say I kind of let it fizzle out and then retired it when there were only 2 wereskinks left in occupancy of the fort. Since I felt that I had basically shown how to get a fort started and that fort was overly safe and not very interesting because not much was really happening except for the obvious wereskink attack, I decided to just kind of let it go. And this time I'm looking to put myself in an evil biome and get something a lot more challenging. We are in the same world as cut arrows, and that world is Amethyllina. I will, however, even though I'm looking to play a more challenging fort, avoid Aquifer and make sure I have some metal I can make weapons and armor out of. Either of those things not being the case are much more annoying than they are difficult, in my opinion. I'm actually using DFhack this time since it is updated for 4.3.05, and I don't use it for much, but one of the things I am using it for is to check what metals are at an embark before I select it. So mainly I'm looking up around this evil mountain range, and it's really interesting because there are actually several spots where there is a good biome that is right next to the evil mountain range. So this spot has that nice overlap of the 2 biomes, and it also has tetrahedrite, sphalerite, cassiterite, and bismuthinite. Say those 5 times fast. Which means that I could quite possibly not only have access to copper, which isn't that great by itself, but could possibly get some bronze alloys, which would be pretty nice. And that would be almost as good as steel for certain things. The mirthful biome at the base of the mountains is the Plain of Rites, and then the mountains themselves are the Torturous Axe. That is the name of those 2 biomes. We have plenty of neighbors, and also we are going to be from the same civilization as cut arrows, which is the Armor of Glazing. Also, despite being partially in the mountain range, technically the embark is actually going to be completely flat and separated right across the middle between the mirthful and haunted biome. So, because I am most worried about my dwarves getting murdered by something very nasty, up to and including the undead, I am preparing quite a bit differently than I did last time, or than I would prepare going to a non-evil biome. So, everybody has some fighting skills and a weapon skill, and most of them have blunt weapons, because those are the best at dealing with undead. So I'm looking through at the dwarves individually here and looking for a couple of good candidates to kind of be lead soldiers, and I will give them better combat skills and not give them any other skills. I'll also give them a little bit of student and teacher so that hopefully they can teach the other dwarves faster. Although I found no information that actually points on that mechanically being the case. In my experience, it does seem to make a difference, though. So, these are all the items I'm bringing. It's fairly normal, I just don't have any livestock because those can become undead, and I have plenty of military equipment for my dwarves so that they can leverage their military skills if needed. My woodcutter is also going to be a axe dwarf instead of a mace dwarf or a hammer dwarf so that I don't have to bring an extra mace or hammer, respectively. So, other than soldiering, I have skimped out on basically every basic dwarven skill, and the few other things I've brought are, I have doctor skills spread across a few dwarves, I have a smith and an animal trainer. And I realize I just said that I'm not bringing any livestock because I'm afraid of the undead, but at some point I will be able to deal with them effectively, and at that point I would like to start catching all the fun things that will spawn in the 2 biomes that my fortress is over. Our group is known as the Glittery Hate. The fort's named Bileberry. The symbol of our group is the Were Slaughter of Onslaught. It's an image of 2 wereskinks, a shining sun and a dwarf. The 2 wereskinks are cringing, the dwarf is praying to the shining sun. I tried to keep the names thematic to the embark, and then the symbol is just a little callback to the end air quotes of cut arrows, since cut arrows is still out there, functioning apparently. So once I get to Erong Selig, the first thing I want to do is check for danger, and it appears that there is no immediate danger. There is snow everywhere. Our brook is frozen. It looks safe enough for now, though. One really cool feature of DFhack right now, especially because Dwarf Therapist isn't available for the latest version, is this screen, which gives you a lot of the major features of Dwarf Therapist without a lot of the extra stuff. Since I didn't give my dwarves many basic skills right now, I'm just kind of assigning up those labors that I'm going to need right away to everyone so I can start getting things moving. DFhack also gives you a few other nice little pieces of information. They have in the bottom right, happiness, in the bottom left, the weather, and up in the top right next to idlers, the date in universe. So once I get the wagon slated for removal here, the number one priority of evil biomes is to make sure that you can just get all your dwarves underground where it's vaguely safe as soon as possible. I'm also just going ahead and putting all of the dwarves into a squad so that if I need them to kill something really quickly, they will be ready and I won't have to fuss with it. That squad won't be active, though. They won't be training or anything for now. I don't have enough manpower to spare for that. So I'm just digging out a little area to hide the dwarves and get my supplies underground, and then after that I'll just be digging a staircase downwards. Looks like something finally showed up, and it is 4 chinchillas. Yep. So nothing horrible yet. It seems that we've lucked out on our first spawns here at least. Back to the digging, it looks like we've got a layer of clay, and then it just immediately turns into stone. I'm just going to set up a custom stockpile with everything in it so that the dwarves won't leave anything on the surface, hopefully, and put that in my little dugout room down here. Periodically, though, I am checking to make sure that new things aren't popping in or sneaking up on me, because I want to make sure nothing nasty takes me by surprise here. Now that I've been lured into a false sense of security by the chinchillas, of course it starts raining horrid filth, and it is actually just horrid filth. It's horrible and green and filthy, assumedly. This is one of the features of evil biomes, is that they can have a variety of yucky things rain from the sky, for lack of a better word. I did have one once, though, where it rained elf blood, which was actually kind of nice, you know? It's kind of nice. Even horrid filth is pretty tame compared to some of the weather, which can, you know, roll in and turn your dwarves into, like, horrible zombies and monsters and all sorts of stuff like that. Also, I've never seen these bubble bulbs before. They're kind of interesting looking. It looks like they're just like plants, though, and you can't really do anything with them. Continuing to designate downward mining, I'm hoping to find a cave and then just turn that cave into my front yard and never go on the surface again. That's my plan. Super underground doors. And since there's no immediate danger, I'm going to designate some wood and plants on the surface to be collected for later use. So far, we've had a pretty warm welcome as far as evil biomes are concerned, and we don't know whether or not we're going to have to deal with undead, because there's just like sort of a 50-50 chance whether or not an evil biome will reanimate or not. So hopefully we'll get lucky and we'll get to deal with undead. It looks like the miner is finding plenty of ores. He's found cassiterite and tetrahedrite. Cassiterite is the ore of tin, which is cool because you can use that to make bronze with copper. And tetrahedrite is the ore of copper. Well, one ore anyway. Tetrahedrite is kind of interesting because every time you make a bar of copper from tetrahedrite, you have a 20% chance to get a bar of silver instead. So that's also cool because silver is worth a fair bit of dwarf bucks. I'm still looking for the underground, especially since there's all this ore. It would be very nice to have a magma smelter to smelt it all up with, so I can really get a good metal industry going. Alright, so we found the cavern layer, and it's everything I could have ever wanted. We've got water, there's obviously underground plants and trees, so this is perfect. So now I just have to figure out what my fortress design is going to be from the outside and get the stuff for the intermediary time set up. I think I'm just going to throw some farms and stockpiles right out here once my miner finishes mining out into the caves, just to get all my ducks in a row and so my dwarves don't have to run up and down that big flight of stairs. Alright, that is all for this time. Let me know what you thought of this post-commentary and edited style of video as opposed to the kind of just off-the-cuff, raw live recording that I did with cut arrows. And don't forget that I am doing dwarfings this time if you'd like to be a dwarf in my fortress. I hope to see you next time.